Power Talks, empowering you through the voice of truth with your host, Dr. Joel Hunter.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Joel Hunter, host of Power Talks, empowering you through the voice of truth. On today's program, we are going to be learning about a private school in Longwood, Florida that specializes in teaching students with attention deficit disorder, dyslexia, Asperger's syndrome, and other learning challenges. My guests are Dr. Richard Dunn, chairman of the board of Pace Brantley School, Pamela Tapley, who heads the school, and Ryan Stauffer, distinguished student alumnus, who can tell us what it's like being a student there. So let's get to it. Rick, and we'll dispense with the doctors and just go on a first name basis here. We've been friends for a long time, and I knew your mom, and she was a remarkable woman. And I invited you on not just because you're the chairman of the board, but because your mom was the founder of this school. Could you tell us her story and how she came to found the school?
Yes, my mom was an educator and worked in Seminole County Public Schools for her whole career, basically. And when most careers are ending at the age of 65, she was approached by some families of children who needed some help, and they supported her in getting Pace School started back in those days. So at 65, when most people are ready for retirement, she started a school. And she was quite an educator. Growing up with her, it was like living with Mother Teresa and a drill sergeant all at the same time.
That's a great description.
But I imagine she ran her household the same way she ran her classroom.
Yeah.
So we were constantly learning as children.
Yeah.
With my mom. She was not one to allow us to sit around watching TV, and video games weren't in existence in those days, but she definitely wouldn't be for that. She wanted us outside, active in sports, and when we weren't doing something like that, we were reading a book.
Yeah.
Those were the rules.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, it's at 65, when she's nearing retirement, she has this idea, promoted by several families, to start Pace School, and that's how it all got started.
Well, I can't help but mention, Rick's one of the leading orthodontists of our region, and so the penchant of this family to straighten out crooked things and to repair what can be repaired is not lost on us. Pam, let's go to you next, because for many who haven't heard of Pace Brantley School, tell us about the uniqueness of this school and their approach to education.
So I was fortunate to come on board. This is my 6th year. And when we got there, what Rick's mom created was just an amazing opportunity for families to come. And we really worked hard on wrapping around those families. So many of our families come to us, and by the time they get to us, they've been told so many different things, and they're just looking for answers and support. So we offer that. So we have therapies at our school now for occupational therapy, speech therapy. We do coffee chats for parents to talk about issues about homework, or even simple things of how to engage your child in a conversation after school. Instead of saying, "How was your day?" "Great." "What'd you do?" "Nothing." We know they did a lot. And so it gives families an opportunity to also have support. And we do that by wrapping around. I have mental health counselors at our school that help support our kids. And then I think just the environment that we've created for our families. I pride it on being warm and welcoming, and letting them know that when their child's with us, they're in very good hands. And we're very blessed.
Yeah. Relationships and the warmth of personal approaches really does bring out the best of us in every sense of that word. Ryan, you are one of the success stories. You were the salutatorian of your graduating class, and I think it was 2018, is that right?
Yes.
Just finished up your freshman year at Beacon College. I ask your permission to ask you about, you have an auditory processing disorder. Could you explain to us what that is, just as an example of the type of challenges that students have at PACE?
Well, basically, like if someone was giving instructions, I might not hear it all. Like it might seem too much information for me to comprehend. So I might say, I'm sorry, what did you say? Or could you give an abridged version? Or I might have been doing some work and I might have trouble concentrating with background noise, like chit-chatter or music in general. Or I'm trying to talk to someone like you and you're both are trying to talk at the same time. It's hard to hear what you're saying. So I can only take one at a time.
Okay, well that's very informative, because part of the genius of the school and the inspiration of the school really is being able to spot what stands in the way of somebody who's obviously very intelligent, but they've got this thing going on that other people may not have going on. So you can identify that, diagnose that, and minimize then that distraction. You're into computers, is that right?
Yes, at college I'm studying computer information systems, digital media, and web design, yes.
Okay, very good, very good. Rick, let me come back to you, because you're still the chairman of the board. You know, by the way, I like people who start new stuff at 65. How does that? This story is more inspirational for more than one reason.
Absolutely.
You're still chairman of the board. Tell us a little bit about the development of the school since your mom founded it to what it is right now. I know it's been through several iterations. You started out with one campus, one building, you got like 7 and ball fields, and now everything's developed, and so tell us a little bit about the development of the school.
Well, I think my mother started out with the idea that if a child is diagnosed early enough, then she could, and her teachers could, teach the student to compensate for whatever was going on and get back into the mainstream public school system early. So she started out with grades 1 through 3 or 4, something like that. And then gradually it wasn't enough. And so the diagnoses of the learning disability was made later in a child's life. And so she went from 1st grade to 8th grade. And then, probably 20 years ago, they did the high school. So now it's 1st through 12th grade. Because a lot of times our students are not handling the typical classroom setting, and it takes a while for that to kind of fall apart in their learning, and they come to us. I mean, how many times does a student get brought to PACE school and they're already in high school?
Yeah.
So anyway, this school is to help kids that we know can learn, we know have all the potential in the world, but they just learn differently.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a very good point. A lot of problems that we see look like behavioral problems or, problems of rebellion or just, we just used to call it that's just terrible behavior. But recently we've looked a little bit deeper into learning challenges and other things that are going on that demand a diagnosis rather than a reprimand. So, Pam, I'm fascinated. You spent 22 years in the public school system. What drew you to this kind of education?
I think it started a long time ago where I just, I had a passion that I think God just put in my heart for those students that needed extra support or a voice for them. And so even as a classroom teacher, I was the one that said, put them in my classroom. And I loved every minute of it. And so I knew going in that I was on a journey And so I'm blessed that God brought me to Pace Brantley and had an opportunity to meet Rick, and I don't know, it just happened from there.
Yeah.
And so I'm just very passionate about kids that just need a different environment to find success in. And that's what PACE is about. And it's just a celebration of uniqueness.
Yeah.
And
let me go a little bit deeper on that, because Ryan, I want to come to you as a former student. Tell us about what it was like inside the school as a student. Did you have favorite teachers? What do you feel set you up for success?
Oh my gosh, there were many great people, many great teachers, friends there. I made a lot of great friends. One who ended up feeling like a brother to me, Warren, you remember him? And yeah, a lot of great teachers who would end up being influential for my life. So I'd like to take the moment to explain what some of them did. Like, Mrs. Drake Smith, she's the drama teacher there. I was part of 3 of the school plays. I was there on my years there. Like, a lot of us were so nervous to get on stage or in public in general, and she knew how shy some of us were, and so she showed us how to project, get the confidence we could get, show who we are on the inside, showing how we could be. And then there's Mrs. Hall, the English teacher, great with literature, such a Shakespeare fan she is. But she showed how we can get many creative ideas, because we would always do creative storytelling. And so it was a way to get all unique sorts of ideas on certain topics you can get in the future. Then the last 2, Mrs. Halachik, the guidance counselor, and Mr. Starcher, the dean there, they knew the trouble you would go through, and they would always do the best they could to make you feel spirited, but best of all, trying to make sure you become the best person you can be, because they want to make sure you become as respectful as possible, get good respect at the school, because, as we say, we at PACE pledge to treat everyone with fairness, kindness, and respect.
All right. That's a motto, then, I take it.
every morning. Every morning.
That's great.
We say it every morning.
Every morning.
Well, as Ryan mentions these faculty members and teachers, let me ask you, Pam, is there when you're recruiting or hiring or looking for faculty members or staff people, is there a special quality that you're looking for? I mean, would it be different than public school? Tell us about what you're looking for.
You know, I really look for somebody that's got the heart and the passion to work with kids. Maybe when I was a public school, high school principal, or here, I think the difference is we do so much training. So really looking with somebody that has a master's in exceptional education, or has a specialist in reading. We have Orton programs, which are very specialized for dyslexic. So if somebody comes with that training, we can provide a lot of that at PACE. So it's really about the heart and the feeling that I get from an interview that says, this is for me. I'm meant to be here to help these kids, support them, and allow them to be the best they can be.
Yeah, good. Rick, you have told us a little bit about the history and the development of the school. Again, as chairman of the board, what is the vision? Is there kind of a next step for Pace Brantley School? What are you looking to do in the future that you haven't done in the past?
Well, facilities is always a issue with any school, because facilities gets used quite a bit. And our initial campus utilized buildings that were never really made for for the classroom, and we're still using some of those buildings. But anyway, updating our buildings would be a big part of our 5-year plan, I guess we would call it. And then also, I mean, Pam has come in and done a tremendous job in finding those special teachers and staff members, support staff, that we need, that really have the heart that she's talking about. I was going to say that my mom always had a heart for the underdog. Whatever. I mean, if she saw a puppy dog on the side of the road, she'd bring it home. We had so many dogs around the house, and but when it came to education, she always took the side of whatever student was not getting the chances that everybody else got. So that's kind of what our staff is looking for, and we're constantly looking to improve staff. Other long-term programs would be after high school, after they graduate with a high school certificate, then what? Not all of our kids have the opportunity to go to Beacon College or any college. And so we're looking at a program where we could call it the 13th grade or something like that, where we could get them plugged into corporations that can train them at a skill. And so that's kind of our vision in the future.
That's I'm hearing more and more from educators that's the area to be developed for many schools, because we used to just have this kind of rubber stamp process that you graduated high school and then you went on to a 4-year college degree, but now people are finding that the world's moving so fast that a 4-year college degree doesn't, or master's or even a doctorate, doesn't guarantee that you're going to be current with what's needed in the marketplace.
Exactly.
And so that's a really good route to take. I'm glad to hear you're doing that. Pam, tell me about the PACE's involvement in the community. Do you use volunteers? How do you get your student body? Every student body is cloistered to a degree, but I imagine there'd be even more reason to cloister or cluster the student body, maybe in a more protective manner. But my hunch is that good education teaches just the opposite, how to go out and get involved and take the risk and so on and so forth. How does PACE School do that?
We have great community support, and one of the things that we're looking to do is getting our kids out and having opportunities to job shadows, to do internships. And so when Rick mentioned about the 13th year, our whole goal is setting our students up for success and in getting them out there. So we do food banks where our kids will get out there and build food for a Second Harvest Food Bank or Christian Sharing Center. Right now we're going to be picking a community service for this year for our National Honor Society. So it's really important for us to also help our students see about giving back. We feel very blessed with PACE and the opportunity, but there are others that need our support. And, when Ryan said treat everyone with fairness, kindness, and respect, that's what we try and instill in our students. Is part of that respect is respecting one another and the challenges that they may come with, and, simply being kind. And so when we teach that, and as Ryan mentioned about having that self-confidence, so that takes some time, but then we want them to be able to go and show that out in the community. And so we work with some community partnerships and looking to have more come in with our school. We started developing a flex period that allows every student to look at something that they're curious about. What do I want to know more about? Maybe it's theater, maybe it's stagecraft, maybe it's Tai Chi, or maybe it's building robotics. And so we're looking at having some more expertise to come in and help. We've been doing that with our staff for this is our 3rd year, and it's really giving kids an opportunity to see what they're interested in. And for no other reason, just to have curiosity, which so often our kids don't have time for in their schools.
Ryan, let me ask you, I gave you a list of questions before you came on, but I never stick to those questions, so you gotta go with me here. But Ryan, let me ask you, just as Pamela was talking about this, it comes into my mind that you must have some empathy for folks who maybe have been treated differently.
Oh, absolutely.
And so when we talk about treat everyone with kindness and respect, what was the first one? Fairness. Okay, fairness, kindness, and respect. Do you find yourself, as you face the student, not just the student body at Beacon, but in the normal discourse of life, do you find yourself more empathetic toward those people who might be getting left out, or do you find yourself drawn to folks that might need a little extra help, or how does that work? Because when we were raising our boys, if they'd come home in tears, their mom would always say the same thing: remember how this feels. Don't ever make anybody feel like this, And so it was always a lesson in empathy. Tell us about how you see that.
Yeah, like I've been friends with so many people that we treated harshly so bad because of their differences. Like some of my friends who have dyslexia, like to be criticized about how they read something wrong, and I'm just like, that doesn't make them any different than who you are. They're just like you. Sure, they might be having trouble with this, but they have a great capability of doing things. Because one of my friends, Emily, she's doing a great job. Even though she has dyslexia, she's doing a great job. Back at Beacon, she's an art major. Actually won some art shows too. That's very rare for freshmen there. So. But yeah, we are always there for each other, no matter what. We are great friends, no matter if we have a different disability. You may have ADHD, I have auditory processing disorder. I know the trouble you're going through because I've been down that hole. And no matter what anyone says, you are charismatic.
Yeah. So you you support each other. You encourage each other, and you empathize with those that are being left out. Because there is a general camaraderie, I think, to people who have struggled. And it's a good thing.
Yeah, we try to let everyone know you are not alone at all.
Good. That's wonderful. Let me ask this: are there opportunities? Do you have volunteers at the school? Do you need anything from the community? We've learned that you're giving. By the way, it's good if you are a business person and you say, I'd love to have one of those kids come and just, spend a day with us just to see what we do and ask questions and expose them to the business world or the manufacturing world or the whatever world, the merchant world or whatever. It might be a good idea to develop a program like that because that really helps the community out. But are there ways that you need the community to help you out?
Absolutely. If you have just about anything out there, business-wise, community-wise, give us a call. First of all, I'd love for you to come see our campus because, as Rick knows, I like nothing better than to talk about our school and outstanding teachers, outstanding kids. So it's just a ray of sunshine to be able to share that with other people. So please call. Love to have you tour the school, have a conversation about not only what you can do for us, but what we can do for you.
Good.
And so I believe it's always a partnership where both have to give. And some of it may be just educating you of what's out there and accepting and learning how to work with people that have auditory processing disorders in the workplace, because each person brings something, and it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to work with community members. And so, yes, everybody, please call
There you go.
that wants to help. But first, we'd love to have you visit our school, and we'll sit down and see what we can do together.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Could I answer that question?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, as a member of the board, we have to look at the finances too. And PACE is a nonprofit organization, and it's important for everybody to realize that. So every dime that comes in, we put it back into the educational facilities and programs. So when you talk about corporate partners, we're looking for partnerships in any possible way.
Good.
And that would really help us out a lot. There's a big gap between the actual cost of educating in a specialized situation like we have and what tuition brings in. So there's a gap that we have to make up every single year.
And these contributions tax deductible.
Of course.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, this flies by so fast, but we're out of time, and I hate this because, but this is such a special sense in what this program tries to do, and those people with power, and you're included in that, Ryan, are using their power to help people who may be marginalized. So I want to thank you and our panelists, Dr. Dunn, Pamela Tapley, and Ryan Stauffer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming up with it here, for joining us on Power Talks. Remember, these discussions are just that. They're discussions among us. But we'd love to see you share what you've learned with others and get involved, because when Power Talks, you're empowered through the voice of truth. See you next time.
You just watched Power Talks, a Good Life 45 original production that makes you part of our Hope Team here on Good Life 45, where hope happens.